Hello everyone, I'm Claire from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make a Sino style series, Xuan Lang asymmetric cloak. For this electronic tutorial, you can check it on the website by searching for susud.com. This cape consists of the shoulder parts, front pieces, and back piece, edging, collar, buttons and belt. First, crochet the shoulder parts from top to bottom. Then, crochet the front and back pieces of the body. And add edging to both the front and back pieces separately. Next, crochet the collar above the shoulder parts. After completing it, make and attach the buttons. Finally, make the belt. Start by crocheting the shoulder parts. We will start from foundation chain and work back and forth along the starting chain. Distribute increases while crocheting. A variety of stitches are used, all of which are marked on the pattern chart. I won't go through each one. Note that, when crocheting, you need to separate one strand from the gem twist and crochet it together with other yarns. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. Let me demonstrate how to pick the yarn from the gem twist. As you can see, the gem twist is a bundle of threads woven together. Find any point where the thread starts, and cut it there. Gently shake off any loose yarn ends. The cut end will form a yarn tail and a few loops. Gently pull the yarn tail. Paying attention to picking the tail out from the loops. The loops will then loosen. Make sure to pull gently. If after pulling a few stitches, you find the yarn tail is knotted, then untie the knot at that point. Or choose another nearby section to cut. Repeat the previous steps. Until you can pull the yarn tail and all the loops loosen one by one. Then, take the strand of gem twist you've pulled out. And combine it with another yarn to crochet as a group. The single strand mentioned later actually refers to such a group of yarn. This won't be repeated again. Next, start with the beginning chain. For your convenience in watching, I will use cotton yarn for the demonstration here. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Firstly, create a foundation chain with the corresponding number of stitches. Asterisk omitting the repetitive parts here asterisk. My sample swatch has fewer stitches for simplicity. Refer to the chart for the specific stitch count. This completes the beginning chain. Now let's work the first row. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain for the double crochet, corresponding to the last chain stitch of the beginning chain. Then draw through 1 loop above the 5th to last chain stitch. Work 1 double crochet. Then work 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip 4 chain stitches. Draw through the 5th chain stitch on the left. Work 1 DC4 in 1. That is, draw through this chain stitch position. Work 4 double crochets in this position. This completes the double crochet placed over 4 chains. Continue by drawing through the adjacent chain stitch on the left. Work 1 DC4 in 1. After completing this, work 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip the next 4 chain stitches. Draw through the 5th chain stitch braid from the left. Work 1 double crochet. Work 1 more chain stitch for transition. Skip the next 4 chain stitches. Draw through the 5th chain stitch from the left. Work 1 DC4 in 1. Let's take a look at the fabric piece. These 2 double crochets placed over 4 chains are now complete. Consider 2 chain stitches and 1 double crochet as one pattern group. Repeat this pattern group downwards. Crochet the corresponding number of pattern groups. Asterisk omitting the repetitive parts here asterisk. Finish crocheting the last pattern group. Draw through the adjacent chain stitch on the left. Work 1 DC4 in 1. Work 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip the next 4 chain stitches. Work 2 double crochets. The first row is completed. Consider the right side of this row as the right side of the garment. Move on to crochet the second row. This row is crocheted on the wrong side. Read the chart from left to right. Start with 3 chain stitches. Turn the workpiece counterclockwise. Draw through the adjacent double crochet stitch on the left. Work 1 double crochet stitch. Then draw through the chain stitch position on the left. Work the 2 strands at the top together. And make 1 double crochet stitch. Then chain 1 for transition. Skip the next 3 stitches. Draw through the 4th stitch from the left. Work 1 DC3 in 1, which means working 3 double crochets into this stitch. So, you will be making 3 double crochets in this stitch. This completes the DC3 in 1. Continue by picking up the adjacent stitch on the left. Work 1 DC3 in 1. Then chain 1 for transition. Skip the next 3 stitches. Draw through the position above the left side chain, where 2 strands are. Make 1 double crochet stitch. According to the chart, you need to work 1 front post double crochet. However, since the chart shows the right side of each row, On the wrong side, you should work the opposite stitch. Here, you need to work a back post double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook from the back of the fabric piece, draw through the stitch below on the right side of this DC, come out on the left side, pull the hook back to the front on the left side. Work 1 double crochet stitch. This completes the back post double crochet. We can flip to the right side to see. This stitch stands out forward, showing the texture of a front post double crochet. It matches the chart. Continue by picking up the left chain stitch. Work 1 double crochet stitch. Then make 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip 3 stitches. Work 1 DC 3 in 1. This completes one group of the pattern. Repeat the pattern all the way down. Finish crocheting this row. Asterisk omitting the repetitive parts here asterisk. Finally, work 1 double crochet stitch in the turning chain. This completes the second row. Now move on to the third row. This row is crocheted on the right side of the piece. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Turn the piece. Work 3 double crochet stitches. Then make 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip 2 stitches. Work 1 double crochet increase, that is, work 2 double crochets in this position. This completes the double crochet increase. Continue with another double crochet increase. Then make 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip 2 stitches. Work 2 double crochets. Then work 1 front post double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook from the front of the piece into the right side of the stitch below. Come out on the left side, draw through this stitch from the front. Work 1 double crochet. This completes the front post double crochet. Work 2 more double crochets. Then make 1 chain stitch for transition. Skip 2 stitches, and work 1 double crochet increase. This completes one group of the pattern. Repeat this group of the pattern as you move down. Finish this row. Asterisk omitting the repetitive parts here asterisk. This completes the third row. For the remaining part of the shoulder, refer to the chart and work back and forth with corresponding stitches. Pay attention when crocheting on the wrong side. Where the chart shows front post stitches, you need to work back post stitches instead. All the stitch techniques have been demonstrated before. Please refer to the chart. Finish crocheting them. While crocheting, you may encounter a situation where one of the yarn tails is not long enough, and you need to join a new yarn. I'll demonstrate the joining method using a small sample. Leave about 5 centimeters of the yarn tail that needs to be joined. Tie a simple knot. Work with both the old and new yarns together for a few stitches. For 2 types of yarn being worked together, you can tie a knot with the yarn that needs to be joined. Then continue crocheting according to the pattern. Place the joining area on the wrong side of the piece. Leave the yarn tails for now, no need to handle them immediately. At the end, weave in the ends following the texture. This is the method for joining yarn. For any future instances where you need to join yarn, follow this same method. Once everything is completed, secure with one chain stitch. Leave a tail of about 5 centimeters, then cut the yarn on the wrong side of the fabric. Weave in the ends following the texture. Trim off the excess. This completes the shoulder parts. Up to this point, the crochet method for the shoulder parts has been explained. Next, we will learn the crochet method for the front body. Let's look at the finished product. On the left side of the shoulder parts, join the yarn at the corresponding position in the chart. Crochet back and forth with the corresponding stitch count. Leave the right side of the shoulder parts open. Leave it unworked for now. I'll demonstrate the method for joining the yarn using this small sample. Make sure the right side of the piece is facing you. Take out the corresponding yarn tail. I'll continue demonstrating with a cotton yarn. Make a slip knot with the yarn tail. Insert the hook into the stitch to the left of the corresponding front post double crochet, FPDC. Draw the slip knot through. Adjust the loop size. The yarn has been joined. Then make 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Insert the hook at the joining position, and work 1 double crochet. As you crochet, pull the yarn tail tight. Continue crocheting while referring to the chart. Keep referring to the chart for increasing stitches in certain positions as you crochet. Pay attention, as some rows have different stitch patterns and intervals. These are marked on the chart. Make sure you don't crochet into the wrong stitches. All the stitch techniques needed have been demonstrated before. Everyone, refer to the chart. Finish crocheting the front piece. Continue to crochet the back body. Join the yarn at the first stitch, on the right side of the shoulder parts. Work back and forth along the remaining part of the shoulder parts. The crochet method is the same as for the front piece. Only the number of pattern groups differs. All the stitch techniques needed have been demonstrated before. Everyone, refer to the chart to complete them. Up to this point, the crochet method for the back piece has been fully explained. Move on to crochet the edging. Let's look at the finished product. The edging is divided into 2 parts, edging for the front piece and edging for the back piece. Work around the opening at the shoulder parts, and along the edges of the front or back piece, crocheting back and forth. After completing the edging, on the right side of the front piece, sew together where the front and back pieces overlap. The new stitch technique used is the popcorn stitch made with 3 double crochets and slip stitches. I'll demonstrate this using a small sample swatch, showing the crocheting method for edging the front piece. For the sample, I'll continue using a single strand of cotton yarn. The color choices are random. Place the right side of the fabric piece facing you, with the shoulder part pointing downwards. Join the yarn at the joining position on the first row, on the right side of the front piece. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Work a popcorn stitch with 3 double crochets. We'll refer to this simply as the popcorn stitch from now on. First, insert the hook into the joining position, and work 3 double crochets. Temporarily remove the hook. Then insert it back into both the first stitch and the loop that was left. Pull the loop through the first stitch. Pay attention to making sure the double crochets pop out forward. Secure with 1 chain stitch. 1 popcorn stitch is now completed. Leave an interval of 1 row. On the left side, draw through the edge of the second row of double crochets. Work 1 slip stitch. Continue with 3 chain stitches. Then pick the insertion position for this slip stitch. Work 1 popcorn stitch. After completing it, leave an interval of 1 row. Pick the insertion position for this double crochet in the 4th row. Work 1 slip stitch. Crocheting the edging is repeating 3 chain stitches. For the popcorn stitch and slip stitch, the specific insertion position and stitch count can vary. Just keep the fabric piece flat. Moving down, everyone follow this pattern. Around the edges of the front piece and the shoulder part openings to finish this row. Omitting the repetitive parts here. The first row is now completed. Move on to the second row. Crochet this row on the wrong side. Start with 3 chain stitches as the turning chain. Turn the fabric piece. Insert the hook into the chain space below. Work 1 popcorn stitch. Make sure the double crochets bulge downwards, which means bulging towards the right side of the piece. After completing it, insert the hook into the next chain space. Work 1 slip stitch. Work 3 chain stitches as a transition. In the same position, work 1 popcorn stitch. Insert the hook into the next chain space. Work 1 slip stitch. Continue following this method to complete this row. After completing all, secure with 1 chain stitch. Leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters for sewing. The edging for the front piece is now completed. The crocheting method for edging the back piece is similar to that of the front piece. Please refer to the previous demonstration for crocheting. After completing all, the overlapping areas of the edging need to be sewn together. The length and method of sewing are not fixed. It depends on the actual situation and your preference. Just make sure it's sewn flat. Up to this point, the explanation of the crocheting method for edging is completed. Next, we will crochet the collar. It is divided into the main part and the edging. First, work back and forth on the main part above the shoulder parts. After completing the first 4 rows, you can pause crocheting. For the 5th row, join the yarn at the corresponding position of the back neck opening. Refer to the chart and work back and forth for rows 5 to 8. While crocheting, you need to use the carrying yarn technique to adjust the position of the first stitch in each row. After completing, fasten off the yarn. Continue crocheting row 9 from the ending position of row 4. For the first row of the collar edging, join the yarn on the right side of the front of the collar. Crochet around the edge of the collar. Rows 2 and 3 require switching colors. On the wrong side of the collar, join the yarn at the ending position of the first row of the edging. The new stitch technique used is the X stitch single crochet decrease, single crochet increase, and the reverse single crochet. Please watch the stitch demonstration. Now, I will demonstrate the method for crocheting the X stitch single crochet. Make 1 chain stitch to start. Turn the workpiece. Insert the hook into the last single crochet stitch. Place the hook above the yarn. Catch the yarn with the hook. Pull the yarn through the stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through 2 loops. 1 X stitch single crochet is completed. The difference between the X stitch single crochet and the regular single crochet is that, after inserting the hook into the stitch, the hook goes above the yarn and pulls it through directly, without wrapping the yarn counterclockwise. For an X stitch single crochet decrease, insert the hook into the left stitch. Place the hook above the yarn and pull the yarn through. This is an incomplete X stitch single crochet. Next, insert the hook into the adjacent stitch. Place the hook above the yarn and pull the yarn through. Now you have completed 2 incomplete X stitch single crochets. At this point, there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all 3 loops on the hook. 1 X stitch single crochet decrease is completed. This is the crocheting method for an X stitch single crochet decrease. Now, I'll demonstrate how to adjust the position of the first stitch using the carrying yarn technique. Next, we need to adjust the position of the first stitch by carrying the yarn. First, enlarge the loop. Then pull the yarn or workpiece through the loop. Slightly tighten the yarn tail. This creates a small knot. Turn the workpiece over. Place the yarn tail on the right side and insert the hook into the corresponding position on the left side. Hold the yarn with the left hand. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Pay attention. The carrying yarn should not be pulled too tight nor too loose here. Keep the workpiece and yarn tail flat. This is the method for carrying the yarn. For an X stitch single crochet increase, you make 2 X stitch single crochets in the same stitch. One X stitch single crochet increase is completed. You can see that 2 X stitch single crochets are made in the same stitch. This is how you do an X stitch single crochet increase. First, let's demonstrate the reverse single crochet technique. Make 1 chain stitch to start. Do not turn the workpiece. Rotate the hook counterclockwise. Draw through the last single crochet stitch. Place the hook above the yarn. Hook the yarn. and pull through only the stitch. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through both loops. 1 reverse single crochet is completed. Everyone, refer to the pattern to finish the collar. Next, we will make the buttons and belt. The buttons include Chinese frog and bread buttons. A pair of Chinese frogs looks like this. The main part of both Chinese frogs is crocheted in shrimp stitch, folded in half, and sewn together. One end has a loop for buttoning. The other end is sewn with a purl button. Let's start by crocheting the shrimp stitch. Begin with a slip knot. Then make 1 chain stitch. Next, make 1 standing chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. Then, on this starting chain stitch, work 1 single crochet. Turn the piece clockwise. You can see 2 parallel strands of yarn at the bottom. Draw through these 2 strands with the hook. Work 1 single crochet. Continue to turn the piece clockwise. There are 2 parallel strands on the left side. Draw through these 2 strands and work 1 single crochet. Turn the piece again. Then draw through the 2 parallel strands. Work 1 single crochet. Now let's take a look at the crocheting pattern for the back, which is, every time you turn the piece, draw through 2 parallel strands and crochet 1 single crochet. Following this pattern, continue crocheting until you reach about 10 centimeters in length. Omitting the repetitive parts here. My sample here is shorter. If you want to sew on purl buttons at the top, simply leave a 30 centimeter yarn tail and break the yarn. Just pull out the yarn tail. If you need to crochet a button loop, then continue with 10 chain stitches. Then draw through from approximately the same position below and slip stitch. Pay attention not to twist the chain braid here. Continue wrapping the yarn tail around the chain braid. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a yarn tail of about 30 centimeters and break the yarn. Pull out the yarn tail. This part with the button loop is now completed. Next thread the reserved yarn tail through a sewing needle. Fold the shrimp braid in half. Draw through the middle loop and whip stitch to sew together. This completes the Chinese frog. Next, sew the Chinese frog onto the opening at the shoulder parts. Let's look at the finished product. The one with the button loop is sewn onto the corresponding edge of the front piece. The one with the purl button at the top is sewn onto the corresponding position on the back piece. When sewing, attach the purl button at the top. Note that the one on top should be sewn on the third row of the shoulder parts, corresponding to the position above the first front post double crochet, FPDC. The one at the bottom is sewn onto the edge of the fabric. The middle one is sewn between these two Chinese frogs at the corresponding position for the button loop. The method of sewing is not fixed. Ensure it is sewn securely. Just make sure the fabric piece lays flat. After completing, sew the shank button onto the wrong side of the collar. The bottom edge of the shank button should be about 2 centimeters away from the top of the shoulder parts. The sewing method is not fixed. Pay attention to ensure the yarn tails do not show on the right side of the collar. This completes the explanation of how to make the buttons. Finally, crochet the waistband. Start with a foundation chain and work back and forth for the first row. Then, crochet round 2 and round 3 around the first row fabric piece. The new stitch technique used is the puff stitch made with 5 half double crochets. Please watch the demonstration. Start with a foundation chain of 7 chain stitches. Insert the hook into the first chain and join with a slip stitch. Then, chain 4 for the transition. Turn the work piece. Crochet 1 puff stitch made with 5 half double crochets. We will refer to this as the puff stitch from now on. Insert the hook into this chain space. Work 5 incomplete half double crochets. Then yarn over and draw through all the loops on your hook. This puff stitch completed. Chain 4 for the transition. Turn the work piece. Insert the hook into the chain space below. Crochet 1 puff stitch. Continue following this method, working back and forth with puff stitches. The specific number of stitches is not fixed. Crochet until you reach the length indicated on the chart. Omitting the repetitive parts here. My swatch is shorter in length. The first row is completed. Move on to crochet the second round, starting from the ending position of the first row. Chain 5. Insert the hook into the left chain position and work 1 slip stitch. Continue with 5 more chain stitches. Insert the hook into the adjacent chain position on the left and work 1 slip stitch. Proceed downward. Work a slip stitch into the chain space on this side. Between each slip stitch, chain 5 to connect. Finish this side of the belt. When you reach the chain space where you started, chain 5 for transition. Draw through the chain space on the other side and work slip stitches and chains. Complete this round. After completing, join with a slip stitch to the first chain of this round. Pull tight. The second round is complete. Continue to the third round. Make one beginning chain to start. Work 5x stitch single crochets into each chain space. Complete this round. Asterisk omitting the repetitive parts here asterisk. When everything is finished, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Chain 1 to secure. Leave a 5 cm tail and cut the yarn. On the wrong side of the fabric, weave in the yarn tails following the texture. Trim off any excess. This belt is now completed. Up to this point, the crocheting method for this cloak has been fully explained. If you have any unclear points while crocheting, feel free to note them. Don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Xuan's family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.